A human being enters existence with minimal autonomy. Decades later, as the organism nears the end of its lifespan, it returns to profound dependence. The conventional narrative of human development tracks a steep increase in complexity. A newborn slowly locks in motor control. Language takes root. The organism builds a vast library of knowledge and physical capability. Eventually, that trajectory appears to reverse. Joints begin to stiffen. Recovery slows down. Physical vulnerability increases. The body seems to unwind the exact complexity it spent decades building. This raises an immediate question. Is death simply human development played in reverse, or is something else occurring beneath the surface? This comparison focuses on physical output, the ability to move and interact. To understand if the process is truly a reversal, we have to look past the body's movements and into how it manages energy. Consider an individual who reaches advanced age without severe pathology or neurodegeneration. Their gathered meaning, their identity, and their wisdom remain intact, yet the physical structure holding that identity eventually falters. This physical decline happens even as energy, in the form of food, oxygen, and nutrients, continues to enter the system. Biological capacity relies on gradients. Life exists by taking that energy and pushing molecules apart to maintain highly distinct zones of thermal, chemical, and electrical pressure. If the internal pressure equalizes and the system flattens out into perfect equilibrium, biological activity stops. To survive, the organism must continuously use energy to push back against that collapse, repairing damage and forcing its internal structure away from equilibrium. Aging manifests as a breakdown in this specific ability, the capacity to transform incoming energy into organized maintenance. To see why that maintenance fails, we have to drop beneath the skin and observe the microscopic environment. It is tempting to view a living organism as a collection of isolated physical parts, cells, proteins, and organs stacked together. But life is found in the continuous communication between those parts. A healthy body relies on relational integrity. Physical structure is a stable relationship. Biological function is the active, ongoing conversation happening across the immune, neural, and endocrine networks. What we perceive as a living being is an emergent property, a fragile, oscillating coordination that requires constant protection from microscopic chaos. If the physical components themselves haven't vanished, why does the biological structure inevitably degrade? The first thing to degrade is the quality of communication. A healthy network relies on a clean, rhythmic pulse of information traveling between biological nodes. Over time, microscopic static bleeds into those pathways. The signals slow down, synchronization falters, and the rhythm becomes scattered. When the pathways become noisy, the system struggles to locate damage. Repair mechanisms are triggered, but the signals to coordinate them fail to arrive in time. The individual cells remain intact. The physical network is still there, but the overall coherence is fading. The degradation we call aging is the progressive failure of this systemic coordination. Eventually, the biological network reaches a point where coherent communication is entirely impossible. What remains when the machinery stops? Observation confirms that at this point, consciousness is destroyed the moment the biological substrate ends. This distinguishes the biological substrate, the physical brain, from the conscious pattern it expresses. Because this pattern persists even as individual cells are replaced, a fundamental question remains. Does the physical structure generate the pattern or serve as the interface through which it is expressed? This unresolved relationship between the physical machinery and the pattern it houses defines the limit of our current scientific understanding. One possibility assumes strict physical limits. Consciousness is destroyed the moment the biological substrate ends. Another possibility is that the pattern survives through its ripple effects, embedded in culture, relationships, and the memories of those who remain. A third possibility suggests the biological system was merely an expression mechanism, and the pattern exists independently of the physical body. Consider a human face as it morphs across decades. The physical materials cycle out and change constantly, yet the underlying identity remains recognizable. Over a human lifetime, almost every cell and protein is replaced. Still, a singular, continuous pattern persists through the change. Biological death occurs when the substrate can no longer sustain the network. This leaves the persistence of the pattern, the self that survives the constant replacement of its own parts, as an unresolved observation.